शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुर्गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुस्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। निधाय हृद्विश्वेशं विधाय गुरुवन्दनं बालानां सुखबोधाय क्रियते तर्कसङ्ग्रहः। So yesterday we completed the introduction and classification of the seven padarthas. Okay. So the first padartha among the seven is the dravya, and first among the nine dravyas is Prithvi. Okay. So therefore, now the classification and definition. So you see, whenever you see something being explained here, first you have, as I said, uddeshya. That means it's been the explanation starts with stating its name, that is Padārtha, Dravya, like that. And then there is a classification, which is Vibhaga. And then there is what we call it as definition, right? Lakshana. Just a second. Fine. So, so every time there is a pattern that you're starting with stating that particular topic which you're going to explain. Then if at all there is any classification, you classify, then you define, then you validate. So this is the method. So actually this seems to be 4-step method, but broadly it is a 3-step method called as Uddeshya Lakshana Pariksha. Right? So now, so Prithvi, the Uddeshya is done. So now here the definition and classification are done together. Okay. So Tatra Gandhavati Prithvi. Recite.
Tatra Gandhavati Prithvi, Tatra Gandhavati Prithvi.
Sadvividha Nitya Anitya cha.
Sadvidva.
Dvividha.
Oh. Sadvivida Nitya Anitya cha. Sadvividha Nitya Anitya cha.
Nityah Paramāṇu
Nityah Paramāṇu Nityah Paramāṇu
Anityah Karya Rūpāha.
Anitya Karya Rūpāha Anitya Karya Rūpāha
Nityaha Karya Rūpāha.
Nityaha Karya Rūpāha
Punastrividhaha.
Punastrividaha Punastrividaha
Sharirendriya Vishaya Bhedat.
Sharirendriya Vishaya Bhedat Sharirendriya Vishaya Bhedat
Shariram. Shariram Asmadadinam.
Shariram Asmadaninam Shariram Asmadaninam
Indriyam. There is a this thing. Gandhagrahakam Ghranam.
Indriyam Gandhagranam
Grahakam Gandha Grahakam Ghranam.
Indriyam Gandhagrahakam Granam Indriyam Gandhagranakam Granam
Tacha Nasagravarti.
Tacha Nasagravati Tacha Nasagravati
Vishayo Mrit Pashanadihi.
Vishayo Mrit Pashanadi Vishayo Mrit Pashanadi.
So first the statement is the definition of Prithvi. What is Prithvi? Tatra Gandhavati Prithvi. So that dravya which has smell to it, that is Prithvi. Okay. So do you have any contradictions with this?
Not really.
Sure? Are you sure about it?
Uh,
Does only earth have
I've,
smell?
no,
Then what other
it's not
thing?
exclusive quality, but from what I've learned, Prithvi also includes things like metals, etc. Right? They don't have a particular smell. So
No, metal is not Prithvi. Metal is Taijasam.
oh, okay.
So that will come together afterwards. Okay. Where, in which instances do you feel that it is Prithvi and yet there is no Gandha? Or are there any other elements which are not Prithvi and are having Gandha?
Fire has,
It has,
but that is not fire smell, that is smoke smell. No, nothing.
perfume?
Okay. Yeah.
So perfume is essentially what? Water. Still you do have, right?
Right.
Does stone, granite, like stones, do they have any odor, smell to them?
No.
So then how? Hot water. No, let us remove not hot water, but fine. Okay. So there are certain elements which are not they so don't seem to be Prithvi, but still have odor. There are elements which are like Prithvi, like which seem to be Prithvi, but they don't have odor, right? So what to do? So is this a perfect definition or not? So essentially, in order to know whether it is a perfect definition or not, you need to know the fallacies of a definition,
Right.
right? So whenever you define something, there will be two elements, right? One is the definition. The second one is the entity which you define. Lakshya and Lakshana. The definendium or definitum, it's also called as definendium or definitum, which is being defined is called as Lakshya. The definition is called as Lakshana, right? So in the present context, what is the definendium?
Prithvi.
Prithvi is the definendium, right? And the Lakshana is Gandhavati, right? So in order to know if the definition is perfect or not, you need to first validate it by examining whether there are any fallacies to it or not. So now the definendium is Prithvi in the sense all the entities which are said to be Prithvi. All. It could be mud, it could be your body, whatever it can, right? It could be stone, anything. So in all those cases, whether this definition is there or not. If it is not there, it is only there in certain entities of the definendium, then you have a fallacy called avyapti. Okay, narrow application. And if the definition is there in all the entities of the definendium, but not only doesn't confine to that, but exceeds to other entities which are not or which don't come under the definendium, this thing, spectrum, then you have a fallacy called ativyapti, over application. And if you are not able to actually map or prove this definition to any one entity of the definendium, that means you made a definition like a circle is a shape which has four equal sides. So it is not at all applicable, right? So if the definition is not applicable to at least one of the entity of the definendium, then it is called as asambhava, right? So now, keeping that in mind, So in the perfume water, you have gandha. That perfume is not a Prithvi, it is water. So therefore, it is exceeding the spectrum of definendium. So therefore, Ativyapti is a possibility. And a granite stone is also, it comes under the definendium spectrum. But you don't have gandha there. So you have avyapti. So therefore, initially there will be two objections, that there is an ativyapti and an avyapti, or either there is avyapti or ativyapti. Okay. So in order to actually validate, we need to understand the process of perfume making. Is perfume pure water? No. So there is a process through which a perfume is made, right?
Right.
So where they take the vapor from the flowers or whatever the entities are, elements are. So what
Right.
are those from which actually the essence is being extracted? They are Prithvi.
Okay.
So therefore, even though you seem to, it seems to you for your naked eye to be water, perfume, but essentially it does has some smaller particles of Prithvi in it, because of which actually it is having a fragrance. So therefore, this definition does not have an Ativyapti fallacy. Because Gandha, the parts which are having Gandha are essentially Prithvi particles. They are not the Jala particles.
Right.
So there is no Ativyapti. Then what about granite stone where you don't find any smell? It doesn't emit any smell, right? So there you need to understand that certain elements naturally by default, they may not have, by default in the sense in the form which they are available, they may not have fragrance, but if you transform them into another into another form, they do have fragrance, right? Like the same granite, if you crush it into powder, okay, if you just sprinkle a bit of water, it will also smell like soil. It will have a fragrance to it.
Okay.
While you're crushing any stone, if you go to the crushery, the place where they crush the stones, you do have a very different, unique smell of that particular stone. So stones also, if the crushed material is having fragrance, it cannot happen that the solid particles, the solid state of the same, the same thing, the rock being in powder form or rock being as a rock, if it does not has any fragrance in it, then if you crush it, you will not have fragrance in it altogether. So without having fragrance, so therefore in certain forms or in certain phases that you can experience fragrance, in certain phases you may not. So that doesn't prove, so therefore it is being proved that there is fragrance in even stone. It is only that when it is in the solid stone format, you are not able to perceive it, but afterwards you will be able to perceive it. Like, are there stars 24/7 in the sky?
Yeah.
Are you able to see them every time?
No.
Why? Because there is a certain other element which is actually, because of the light of the sun, it's being submerged in that light. So therefore you are not able to identify. So similarly, there will be certain things that due to which certain elements will not be seen, certain elements will not be experienced. So therefore there is no avyapti also. So this definition stands perfect to it.
Right.
Now Prithvi is of two types. Now the classification. Nitya, Anitya. Sadvividha. Dvividha means it's of two types. Nitya, Anitya cha. So Nitya Prithvi and Anitya Prithvi. Okay. Then what is the Nitya form? Nitya. Nitya means what? Eternal, which is not being created, cannot be, nor can be destroyed. What is that Paramāṇa Rūpa? That undivisible part. Okay? That is Nitya. That means those particles, that Paramanus neither can be created nor be destroyed. Anityaha Karya Rūpa. Anityaha Karya Rūpa. So the second type is Anitya, which is destructible. Anitya means which can be destroyed. Okay? That is Karya Rūpa, which are been created. Okay? So this is one kind of a classification. Punastrividha. Again, Prithvi can be Punastrividha. Again, it can be classified into three. Sharira, Indriya, Vishaya Bhedat. Sharira. So there is a Prithvi Sharira. So there is a Prithvi Indriya. There is a Vishaya. Prithvi Vishaya. So this is called as Parthiva Sharira, Parthiva Indriya, Parthiva Vishaya. So anything related to Prithvi is called as Parthiva. Okay. So, so then comes what is Sharira? What is
Body.
Sharira? Body. So what is the utility of a body?
To help us do things.
More.
It's an instrument of the soul.
To what?
To perform activities.
So essentially, the utility of a Sharira is that, let us not use the word soul, but Atma. So the utility of a Sharira is that you experience pain and pleasure. Doing everything that will also again lead to what? Pain and pleasure.
Right.
I think we discussed this, right? If you have to
Yes.
boil down to two things, that will be pain and pleasure.
Right.
So this is the key instrument, because Atma is an entity which cannot be created nor be destroyed, and it is eternal, it is omnipresent, it is there everywhere.
Right.
But it needs again an instrument in order to actually experience, again, sukha, dukkha, whatever, pain, pleasure, papa, punya, these are all, they're all there in Atma. But you need a instrument to actually achieve certain things and experience certain things.
Right.
Okay, sukha, dukkha, ichha, dvesha. In order to experience them, you need an instrument, that is the Sharira.
Right.
Then Indriya is the means of perception. That is the sensory organ. Vishaya, right? What is the Sharira, Parthiva Sharira? That is Asmadadinam, our bodies, whatever we see, the external bodies. They are called Parthiva Deha. So they are called as Parthiva Deha. That means they are made out of Prithvi. But there is normally this may contradict with, you may have a problem at times that, some say it is Panchabhuta, it is made of five elements, right? You do have water in it, you do have Agni and etc. So what does this means by saying it to be Parthiva is that, yes, there are other elements also, but predominantly it is made out of Prithvi. So the dominant element in this external body is Prithvi, so therefore it is called as Parthiva Sharira. Then the Indriya, what is the Indriya? It is Gandhagrahakam Ghranam, it is the Ghrana Indriya. What is the utility, functionality of this Ghrana Indriya? It is to perceive smell. Gandhagrahakam, that which perceives smell. Gandham grahayati. So that means Gandha is what? Smell, odor, right? Fragrance. Grahayati. So you experience. Graha means experience here, right? So it makes you experience the Gandha, smell. Okay?
Right.
So that is Ghrana Indriya. Tacha nasagravarti. So see here. What is it saying? Nasagravarti. What does it mean by nasagravarti? It is there on the tip of your nose. So therefore, nose is not your Ghanendriya.
Okay.
Nose is the place where your Ghanendriya exists, resides.
Okay.
There is a subtle difference. So, and another thing that we have to understand is Indriya cannot be perceived by Indriya. That means you cannot see Ghanendriya, okay, by, seeing my nose, you don't know whether my nose is working or not,
Okay. Got
right?
it.
We do have, right, well, you have cold, you cannot experience smell. When we had COVID, one of the symptoms was not being able to perceive smell. We all had our noses, but still we were not able to experience. That means the Ghanendriya was not actually functioning at that particular point in time. So this also proves that this external entity which is there, this is just the place in which, this is the placeholder
Mm.
in which actually, on which the Indriya resides. Okay. So therefore, that is what it is called Nasagra Varti. Varti means what? One which is there, where Nasagre, which is residing on the tip of the nose. Okay. Then what are, yeah?
Sorry.
Yeah, please.
Are Granendriya and Jnanendriya different or?
Yeah. Ghrana Indriya is different. Jnana Indriya. Jnanendriyas mean all the five Indriyas together.
Okay.
All the five, through five Indriyas, you acquire knowledge.
Mm.
So therefore, they are called as Jnana Indriya.
Right.
This particular Indriya through which you experience smell is called as Ghrana Indriya.
Okay.
Ghara and Jna. The
Okay.
both
Got
syllables
it.
are different. Vishayah Mrit Pashanadihi. So then what are the Parthiva Vishayas? What are the elements of Prithvi? Like, they are like Mrit, that is soil, Pashana, stone, and etc. So whatever is, which we call it as earthly matter, they are all the Vishayas of Prithvi. Okay? I think we'll stop here. You have any other questions?
No.